went to the cathedral gift shop and then got a bunch of these little medals, I think. I don't know if they're called medals. They're medals? Pendants? Yeah. And got them blessed. And anyway, so my mom is, she's super Catholic, obvious. She's tomorrow. But she was kind of like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But the letter, and then she was forwarding it around to all of our family. Like, okay. It was a little personal, but right on. Anyway, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And happy Mother's Day, Speaker Therese Terlaje, and thanks for joining us. I know it's a little last minute. But we wanted to just jump right into this American Rescue Plan listing that you guys, basically the governor shot a letter and said, hey, what are your priorities? Send me your ideas. And boy, did you guys ever send some ideas over. A very detailed list of where you guys would like to see this $664 million go to. And I kind of wanted to start, Speaker, if we could, because we did have the minority leader on earlier, and a lot of what we see in this list, I like to look at it as really trying to just hammer down some problem areas that we've had in terms of like shortages, right? So I see $14 million, GCC, UOG, and this is for GCC, it's the advancement of GCC's apprenticeship program to develop and train Guam's workforce to meet industry needs, especially in areas that are critical for economic recovery and healthcare. And then another $7 million to the University of Guam for direct financial aid to students in need through the Student Financial Assistance Program, and to increase scholarships for nursing, social work, other health-related programs, teaching programs, and Protect scholarships for medical school. So just in these two listings right here, I can see that kind of the posture you guys were doing was like, hey, we need to kind of look beyond tomorrow and maybe into, the near future, and kind of like hammer down a lot of these areas where we see these perennial shortfalls with nursing, with, medical schooling and all that. And was that kind of you guys' mentality when you guys sat down together, Madam Speaker?
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you recognized that. It was, of course, we know people are hurting still. They're unemployed and, in need. And so we wanted to address those needs directly as possible. We gave some direct aid. But this type of aid is to retrain them. And if you're familiar with this apprenticeship program, which I know you are, is they get paid while they learn. And this is the key for us. So if we're going to just, instead of just handing out the money, we want to get them an opportunity as well at the same time. So we give them paid apprenticeships, hopefully, or scholarships where they can get paid while they learn. And then the government and Guam, we are all going to benefit from this by these people filling the needs in these industries and education, healthcare, that we have been critically short for years. So I'm hoping it's a win-win-win.
Win-win-win. I like that. And then going into this meeting, because it's got, we had a comment on here I wanted to read out. I don't know if I could find it, but it was basically someone had commented in that they were really happy to see this kind of working together, right? Because it has been, and, I think it's been justified contentious in some ways between the administration and the legislature, because, half of your job has been trying to be that check and balance in this crazy time we're living in. But this comment had said something along the lines of, that they were really glad to see you guys working together, and they were hoping that this was kind of the beginning, a new beginning, so to speak. Is that the sentiment that you guys have too, Madam Speaker?
Well, we've been working hard all term, I think, to really work together. And I think a big part of that is just sharing information. So I try to share whatever information comes my way. I try to give them advance notice of everything that I think is going to, come upon us during the session as much as I can. And I think we've all just tried to work together in that regard. Committee on Rules is also doing the same. I think they're giving us notice of everything that's going on with them. They are showing us referrals to bills immediately so that we're all kind of in tune. And the minority, I have a very good working relationship with I think all the individual senators, but also with the minority in general. And so with the cooperation, of course, with all my colleagues in the Democrat side, I think it's just about work, really. And so if you concentrate and you focus on the work, then everything else goes away. And it's just get down to, the actual work that you have to do. And when any tempers start to flare or, emotions, you just got to focus right back on the work. And so I think, everybody's trying to really do that. And I actually very much appreciate that because I can see the work that they put in, they do their research and they come prepared. And I very much appreciate that. So for me, I can work with anyone who's going to do the hard work.
Sabrina?
No, I was going to say, I thought that was significant that the legislature put up this unified front in submitting this letter with all 15 senators signing off on the spending priorities. But just looking at, we kind of talked to Senator Duenas about it, these costs, right? And the need for more information on just how much money are we looking at with the 664 to pay down some of the debts that are owed. I mean, I kind of asked him earlier about, the government quarantine facilities and the amount that's still owed. And is that money going to come from the ARP to pay off that $20 million debt or whatever it is right now to these government quarantine facilities?
Not to my knowledge, Sabrina, if they were able to procure that, then they had to have shown that they had a viable funding source for that. And I've always been told that they were going to pay that and then get reimbursed by FEMA. So I haven't heard otherwise at this point. So that's what I'm expecting. And no, we're not expecting to pay for those facilities with this money at this point. I think CARES money went to that. And I'm hoping there's no outstanding liabilities that the government has that we're not aware of at this point. I surely hope we're not going to have to spend this type of money on those types of things. Right. They should have had funding in order to procure it.
Have you heard anything new about the government quarantine facility and the isolation facility and whether or not they're going to, what are they going to do? Are they going to downsize it, put it into a smaller hotel or combine them? Have you gotten any update? I
say that I've probably heard everything you've heard, yet it keeps changing, right? So now it doesn't, I don't have any idea what they're going to do at this point with the quarantine facilities. So they had told us months ago, maybe at least 2 or 3 months ago in an oversight hearing that they were consolidating them and that they had an RFP out. They were doing the procurement and then, it was just a matter of, they had a procurement issue. It was delayed. So no, I don't know what is causing that delay. And I just hope that all that money is going to be reimbursed at the way they are doing it.
Yeah, we haven't even heard with the isolation facility too, Bree, right? There was something like we got this whole hotel and we got 3 people in the isolation facility.
Right. Bree was talking about, they had talked about consolidating the isolation and quarantine into one building and, operating them separately. But yes, that's what they talked about months ago. And we still haven't seen any movement on it. I haven't, Sabrina, same as you. Yeah. But, if I could about the ARP, this planning, so we gave the governor a general idea of our priorities, but I think, when we meet with her, we're looking forward to expressing to her our general sentiment on this is that because this is a one-time, influx of funds and they're huge amounts really. So we really want to take care, like you said, Chris, of those perennial problems that we have not been able to get over despite our efforts. And so we're hoping if we can do that, then moving forward, with general funds, that's, part of maintenance and just, kind of regular operations, that if we can take care of these big issues, such as, bringing in the infrastructure, bringing in the repairs to parks, bringing in revenue generating utilities and roads, out to areas that right now are not served in Guam. And we're hoping we will be able to expand our economy that way. We will be able to expand affordable housing for sure. And that's what I think is going to help us in the long run. So I really think that type of concrete.
And I think that's one of the things that the governor has done, I think has said, in her last interview, at least here on the link when the president signed the ARP, was that this $600 million it has to, we have to stretch it because, it has to be used to help rebuild our economy because we have to stretch it for 1 to 2 years because tourism, we're not going to see, people arriving in droves come 2 weeks from now. And so your spending plan, does that address that?
Absolutely, yes. It's, for example, I'm going to bring back the education programs. We're tying our education into long-term changes, right? We're going to boost up teachers. We're going to improve our healthcare system in general by increasing nurses, increasing nurse assistants, increasing all technologists in the medical fields, all types of medical personnel on Guam, so that our needs are taken care of, and in the immediate, we take care of them. We pay their apprenticeships. We help them, retrain. And I'm hoping we're going to have a thriving healthcare economy. Hopefully when this is done. The same thing with the utilities, that we're bringing water to places that did not have water, and that is absolutely going to bring huge costs down for huge tracts of land on Guam, that we can have businesses, we can have housing, we can have communities, and we need this, as you know. So right. I just think that too. And if the workforce programs, we've got several different sources of money coming in. Same thing with infrastructure. Congress might pass an infrastructure plan, and that's going to bring in more money just for infrastructure alone. But for example, the workforce plan, we've got money coming in from the federal government to the Department of Labor for workforce training, for job expansion, for, helping these people get jobs. And we also have our H-2B visa fees that goes into apprenticeship programs, and we're expecting an increase in that this year. But on top of that, we still added, 7 million GCC, 7 million UOG, because we really want to hugely expand those areas and to take care of them immediately in this retraining.
Yeah, I mean, Madam Speaker, if you just look back at the last year, we're in a situation where we had to import nurses, we had to import doctors. So, these millions that are going to go to these training and scholarship programs, just how crucial do you think they are? And again, kind of closing these shortages that we routinely see. It's sad when we get our best and brightest go off island and go to school, become, any of these professional fields that we're lacking here on the island, but then they end up having to stay off island to do the work because for whatever reason they can't afford the schooling or the opportunities aren't here.
Right. And I'm hoping very much that that's not going to be the case anymore, especially doctors. We're hoping to get them back on Guam with this Protect Scholarship. We they have a service component, and so same thing with the nursing scholarships and the other scholarships. And so we hope, that's why I'm hoping it's a win-win, that they'll be able to work for us here on Guam, and while after we have helped to train them and we have helped to get them through this crucial period of unemployment, or any of those who are unemployed or want to be re-employed. But I want to thank, in order to get this done, I was very sure that I was going to do everything I could to get consensus. That was the biggest thing for me. I really want the governor to know that we are willing to work, and we're willing to work hard. We want to have consensus with her as well. We want, to move forward with the implementation of these things. That's crucial. We don't want to be stuck in the stage of, we're still debating whether these are important enough or they're politically acceptable or not, but just let's get it done, because we only have a couple years to spend this money. It has to be done. So we're looking for projects that can get done quickly. And I want to thank, the Office of Finance and Budget. They started us off. They set out a list of things that had been asked from these agencies, especially, for many years, that we have just not been able to fund due to, our limited general funds. And so we started off with those. And then we, of course, had every chairman with oversight of those committees really hone in on the details and get our estimates as close as possible to what the need really was. And of course, these will change because, it wasn't an exact, estimate that we got. But yeah, and so they worked very hard to try to get these numbers solid and to try to make sure that we only address programs that are going to have direct impact on quality of life for the people of Guam. That's our key. You know, we don't want to be oblivious or ignore the fact that people need food, you know. And so,
Yeah.
as I said before, yeah, we tried to take care of the food shortage and in a previous bill. Hopefully that refinancing comes through and that money can be dedicated to food, along with the continued federal funds that are dedicated to food. The Recovery, the RISE programs, hopefully that, you know, that can get implemented. We started off with that. That was one thing we definitely wanted to ensure gets done. If it's not done by any other funding source, then it really, really should be done with this funding source.
Speaker, I think of all, because it's a common sense list, right? And I mean, you guys are trying to put money. I think it's a good list. But that RISE Act, right? That seems to be like, when I look at this list, that seems to be like the one that's probably going to, like it or not, maybe be the most contentious, because I'm not really sure where the governor has finally come down on it. Remember, she was kind of saying that she felt that it discriminated against government employees, but then the AG opinion said it didn't, and she could pay it, and we just haven't. I mean, I've asked Daphne Shimzu every time she comes on, hey, what's your update with the RISE Act? And we've asked her so many times that the last time she was like, you know what, when I have an update, I'll tell you.
Well, the way I look at it, I can only speak for myself, is I look at this as a minimum. You know, we're going to take care of those people who were making under this certain income, and we're going to take care of those who definitely were not employed in the government this whole time. And those people, I think, are in need. That's a minimum of who are in need. And so I think there's no hesitation to take care of them. Let's just do that. And if you want to expand beyond any of the programs we've listed here, then I think, you know, there's a way to do that. And right now, the big question is, you know, how much money is going to go to this new hospital? If you put in half of the money, 100 versus the 200 that we proposed, you know, how soon can that money really be spent? What are, you know, how far along are these plans, you know, or are we going to put this money into a trust fund, try to gain interest? Is that even allowable? All those questions, I think that leaves that to me is the big factor that may change. And of course, if we are not able to spend that money on the hospital for any of those reasons, then that money is available for you know, additional programs, additional infrastructure, additional. So, we were looking at PWA made an estimate of how to get water and sewer to subdivisions such as Gilbaza, Zero Down, right? And it looked like an estimate of about 7 million at the very least, maybe 14 million for some other subdivision in Atacao. But yeah, so we were kind of using those estimates, trying to get out to these big tracts of land. And, you know, if you have to use that much money to get water or sewer out to these huge tracts of land, it's going to eat up a lot of this. So we're hoping for, you know, that other infrastructure package from Congress is also going to come through and assist us in these efforts.
Have you heard back, Speaker, from the administration about whether or not we can use this money for building a new hospital? Because I said the last I heard, I remember they were looking at the guidance.
I think, no, I haven't heard, and I don't think the guidance is out yet. So we too are keeping close tabs on this guidance, and it's not out yet. However, you know, I think the issue is, you know, how soon can it get done? That's the key, right? So if it was ready to go, I think perhaps it was more likely that there's no problem using the money for it, or to expand our current hospital. We put some money in this plan to take care of the current hospital's infrastructure as well, because they've made a lot of improvements during COVID, but we believe there still are improvements that need to be made while the new hospital is being built. You know, so we put some money aside for that. Hospital, again, is going to be getting its own funds from the federal government. And so all of that, you know, we had sent a letter to the governor asking for additional information on those types of things, and we don't have all the details of that yet. So these numbers will flex that way. For example, if the hospital gets enough infrastructure money of their own, then, you know, we can take it off this list. But right now we put it on our list because we wanted to make sure that's our priority.
Is there any particular reason why you guys went with 200 as opposed to 300 million that the governor has already said that she wants to use for the new hospital?
Well, there were several reasons. One is, of course, there's a bill pending to finance that hospital in an altogether different way, right? And that would not need any of this money then. It would. That's a bill that's having a public hearing Wednesday, and that bill proposes to use the reimbursement from the EITC to finance a hospital. So that's one reason. The second reason is, we don't know which of these bills will pass, but the second reason was because there were just other projects that we wanted to fund as well. So we put a little less to that hospital because of our assessment of the state of the planning so far. And we're thinking, this is going to be kind of an advance payment on this hospital or a early amount. But, we know the overall amount that the hospital is going to need is 700 million. So there's no way we're going to get around not having a financing plan for that hospital. And this, whatever money we put aside is really just a small portion of that. It's kind of like a down payment or, the first payment on it or something. Or it might even just take care of the A&E and that's all. I'm not sure yet. They keep talking about getting grants to fund part of it. So all of that, I think, needs to be fleshed out, before this money really is going to be spent on a hospital. So we just didn't want it to be sitting around not being spent when people are in great need right now. So we're hoping we're going to find a way.
Is tomorrow's meeting face-to-face or virtual?
I think it's going to be face-to-face in the large conference room.
Oh, what time?
It's at 2 in the afternoon, 2:30. Yeah, 2:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I think, when you hear the governor talking to the media, I think we sound pretty consistent. Everybody knows the best thing to do with this money is to spend it on things that are going to improve our quality of life in the long run and get things that we have not been able to do with our general funds. So,
well, before we let you go, because we do have Juan Flores waiting in the Zoom room, I'm not sure if we got your reaction, but I wanted to see if you could give us your reaction if we didn't get it, because the day I left, we had just reported that Jack Hattig, the CLTC board, made the decision to, remove him as the administrator. And so then while I was away, I saw
actually, Bree,
and Augustine. Go ahead.
They had said that they deemed him unsuitable for the job.
Right.
And then the chair, John Reyes Jr., was supposed to be with the governor. They had a meeting. We didn't hear anything for a week. And then the next Monday, Jack Hattig submitted his resignation. No reason was given. However, he's going to be kept on Adelup as a special assistant. And I did try and reach out to the chair last week a few times to get him on to the show, but we didn't get anything. So I guess, Speaker, not to take your thunder, Bree.
No.
What's the update with that? Have you heard anything at all about who the new CLTC administrator is or what went on in the meeting or anything?
No, I don't know what went on in that executive session, but I think they're moving on. So I hope that they do a good search for a new director. That's really my hope. I think they need to be, this commission has these exclusive authority to hire its director and set its salary. So I really hope that they are diligent about that and that they, are this is really the key, I think, to move forward with this whole land trust. And we've even put some money here to get infrastructure out to those properties. So these homes can be built. Affordable housing can be built in those areas. Businesses can thrive in those areas. Roads can be put down. We are hoping that, they're going to come up with a director who's able to facilitate these things. But I have not heard, I haven't seen an ad for a search, and I haven't heard how they intend to fill that position. So I just hope that these individual commission members are going to be diligent about that.
Thank
But I mean, what is your reaction, though, to hear that the Chamorro Land Trust Commission board finds him unsuitable, but yet apparently he's suitable for a job at Adelup?
I can't speak for Adelup, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know their thought process. I don't know I don't know the whys. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Sorry, Bree. I mean, those are good questions. I have the same questions, so I don't know. Perhaps there are different tasks that they feel he's suitable for, and that they have those up there at Adam. I'm not sure.
Classy answer. All right. Thank you,
Again,
Speaker.
All right.
Thanks for the time, and really, I want to thank my colleagues for their cooperation. It takes time to walk through numbers and talk to people about all the details in here, and some of them, they're very busy, and but they really had to dedicate time to doing this, and they really had to open up, their willingness to let's just all cooperate. This is all for the people. And so I'm very grateful that they see it that way, and that they were able to do that for the people of Guam. To all of you for highlighting programs in here. Take care.
Take care. Thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Speaker Therese Terlaje. Let's go ahead and stay in the Zoom room here where Catholic School Superintendent Juan Flores has been standing by